Okay, I guess we are ready to go here, so I will now call this Township Fire Department meeting to order at 3 p.m. And we will start with the territorial acknowledgement. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge with respect the history and living culture of the Anishinaabe, people of the Three Fires known as Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi Nation, who have inhabited this land from time immemorial. We recognize that these lands are the territories of the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash, collectively known as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, the keepers of this land. Georgian Bluffs is located on lands encompassed by treaties 45.5, 67, 72, 82, and 93. We reflect on our role as treaty people and the need to live in respect and peace and show respect to the First Peoples who inhabit these lands and waters. The approval of the agenda, the recommendation is that the agenda be approved as presented unless anyone has any additions to it today. Okay, you'll move? Yeah. Moved by Ron, seconded by Shirley. All in favor? That is carried. Does any member have a pecuniary interest to declare? Seeing none, you may declare at any time if one should arise. Minutes from previous meetings, we have April 15th, 2025, and the special meeting on May 20th, 2025. The recommendation is that the minutes contained herein be approved. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Rob and Rick? Any discussion on those minutes? Sure.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On the minutes from the 15th of April, and Chief Gutrona just talked about this, in the last page where it mentions that I shared a personal story, and as much as I know our chief would have done the same thing, it was Jeff Fries who was the one who should be recognized here in that paragraph.
Okay. We'll look to staff to make that change. So if we could have the minutes then be approved as amended. Any other discussion? I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Public participation. We have no presentations or delegations, but in both cases, any person who wishes to make a presentation to the board must register with the clerk at least 7 days in advance of the scheduled meeting. To register, you can complete the online delegation form at www.georgianbluffs.ca/delegations or call the clerk's office at 519-376-2729, extension 601. And any person wishing to appear before the board regarding an item on the agenda must also register with the clerk's office. And to register, the same, go to the online delegation form at www.georgianbluffs.ca/delegations or call the clerk's office at 519-376-2729, extension 601, or register in council chambers with the clerk prior to the meeting start time, which is normally 2 p.m. but is 3 p.m. today. We have no correspondence. Staff reports. The first one up is, excuse me, COR 2026-026, which is their 2025 Q2 financial update. The recommendation is that staff report COR 2025-026 be received for information. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Shirley and Will, and I will turn to Sam. Sure.
Thank you, and through you to the board, thank you guys for accommodating the time change. I was one of the conflicts that occurring at 2 o'clock, so I appreciate that. In front of you, you have your Q2, so this is January to June 2025 budget to actuals. The implied budget that is shown in that column on the chart is taking the annual budget, dividing it by 2. I was wondering if the board in the future iteration would be open to doing a different kind of spread on the budget, which is a reflection on prior year actual spending, opposed to taking the budget and allocating it out. It allows for better financial information because you are comparing budget to actuals a bit better. and you're eliminating some of those timing differences which occur to the delay in calls being invoiced and expenses being incurred for previous month fire calls. Don't need direction on that right now, but if that's something the board would be open to, I could appreciate that feedback.
Maybe before you go ahead, I'll ask if there's any questions on that from the board. Everyone understands what's being recommended there. Okay, go ahead.
So this report does have just half of the budget shown and the actuals that have been incurred. So there are many timing differences when looking at our administrative expenditures. There are timing differences around the management salary and benefits that budget does reflect, but actuals does not. As well, our full year insurance has been expensed, but not yet implied budget. Volunteers, we are showing as being under, again, because June expenses have not been yet recorded. Looking at the GL today, we are more in line and in track, and we're actually targeted under the budget to date. When looking at communications, we are over the implied. At the beginning of each calendar year, we do pay the annual OPT costs, so those have been incurred. On the flip side, it's not until the end of the year where we pay Grey County for their communication agreement. So the budget does have that, however, there are no actuals associated with it. When looking at staff safety, we have deliberately not incurred as many expenditures to date, as we want to ensure that we are taking a good inventory of what we do currently have and ensuring that we're buying the appropriate stuff in the reasonable amount to maintain our budget. So it is showing us under at this time. We do anticipate spending the full budget on the end of the year. We are aware that we do have helmets and boots that we do need to do, as well as some of our annual certificates that renew. They typically renew in the fall of each year, so those have not been incurred yet. Looking at our firewall, right now we are over the implied budget. Part of that reasoning is the insurance. As well, when we had a harsher winter, we did have to have someone come in and remove snow, which we had not had to have in previous years. So there was an additional expenditure of approximately $4,000 that we had not anticipated for that snow removal to ensure that vehicles could come in and out of the fire hall safely and appropriately. When looking at our fleet, we are over. That is largely driven to the insurance premiums being our actual full year, but budget only showing half. We have not yet, at the time of altering this report, the annual safeties had not occurred. They have since occurred since. And sorry, I just enjoyed my saying that sentence. I apologize there. They have since occurred, and don't believe there was anything large that came out of them. Some regular service repairs were required, but every vehicle has received their safety. When looking at capital, we had included in our capital budget to purchase high-angle equipment, the building improvements being the washrooms, and we budgeted for funds to be transferred to reserves. The funds have been received by both municipalities and have been transferred to the reserves. We still do need to purchase the high-angle equipment, and the washroom is under progress. When looking at the revenue side, we have invoiced for the first 3 quarters of operating costs. Typically, we send the invoice for Q3 in June, which is why it is reflected in here for actuals. So we are looking at the over-received revenue. MTO fire calls, we have seen a slight decrease in the number of MTO-related fire calls so far this year, so we will continue to monitor that for the remainder of the year. MTO only reimburse for calls which occur on their highways. We don't know where calls will ever occur when we are setting budget, so we do try to take an average over the last few years, so our budget number can be off sometimes. When looking at our miscellaneous, we did receive a refund on prior year insurance premiums for a vehicle that had been disposed of. There was delays in us getting those funds from a switch in our broker, that then selling their business and being taken under another, that it got lost a bit in that transition, but we have received the money now. WSIB also on their side had a surplus, which resulted in them issuing a rebate to qualified Schedule 1 businesses. And your Township Fire Department is a qualifying Schedule 1, so we did receive back a proportion of our contributions, which resulted in $13,401. Right now, that is sitting in your general operating. It is up to the board if you wish to keep it there for operating purposes, or if you would wish for those funds to be transferred directly into reserves. You do not have to make a decision now. That can also be something that is decided when we're looking at more fulsome analysis of the year. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for that. Any questions? Seeing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. Next item is ITFD 2025-06, the 2025 QT report. The recommendation is that Intertownship Board of Management receive report ITFD 2025-06 for information. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Rick and Will and Jeff, I will turn it over to you.
Through the chair to the board, excuse me, just for call volume, we're down a little bit, 5 calls from last year at the same time. Just nothing drastic on what we're going to, it just seems to be, everything seems to be flowing consistently, what kind of calls we're going to. One of the big news stories is our 5 new firefighters we hired. As you see in the report here, I just wanted to say they're all working hard, they're a great bunch. I think their heart's in it, and they're showing the desire and the ambition. One gentleman's actually changing his work schedule to make Wednesday nights work for training, so that shows a big commitment, and he said he's going to continue to do that. So they're all great. We're hoping to have them on the trucks by the 1st of September running calls. They're all certified, but one fully certified. The other gentleman's going to do certification. We get him into a firefighter 1 this year. We'll get him into a firefighter 2 next year, and a hazmat as well. Then he'll be certified within the 2 years. And we do have a couple of congratulations to Travis Belrose and Connor Joyce. Connor Joyce just did the pilot training for high angle rescue for certification. Is fine in our fire marshal's office, and NFPA got a certification for high angle rescue that we're going to start hopefully working towards. But we do have one gentleman that took the course, so he understands, and it's great to see Travis Belrose working on some of his fire prevention stuff. His heart's in the prevention, so he's really interested. We've got a few people stepping up that are interested in doing some more training, getting some more certification to benefit the department as well. And just as one, we have other one outstanding, but we just found out that today that Mitch Pringle, he's certified as a pump operator, so he was successful in that. So that was done last month as well. So those are the good things. I don't know if anybody had any questions on the calls, but I just showed the breakdown of the townships and the MPO. So we did have 5 MPO calls in that 3-month period, which made up 83 calls. And the fire department, they love doing their public education. We've been getting decent turnouts. We did 9 in that last quarter, averaging 4 to 5 to 6. We did the Happy Days. We were up and doing some of the Georgia bus functions as well. We were in Bogner, and Anna got rained out, unfortunately, so we did do the fireworks over there, which everybody loves to do. And we did another, it's called the Abate Group. It's a bike group. It's awareness again and education and for bike safety. They're calling us every year. They actually asked us, they booked us for next year already. So they bring cars in, they simulate a motorcycle accident, and we go in and we'll do some extrication, and people driving, it happens at Staples parking lot. So they come in and the public comes in and they watch us do the demonstrations. It really goes over well. It gets the information out to the public of the safety, the importance of safety. So they're a really good bunch. So I just don't know if anybody had any questions other than, and the last thing is our Township Fire Department, through the OPP, was recognized for the silo rescue just out here at Curry's Farms. We had two gentlemen, one from Owen Sound and one from Inner Township, which is Andy Redmond and Jay Guy from the city of Owen Sound Fire, were awarded life safety awards. I received one as well on behalf of the fire department for my the leadership during the incident itself, my command structure. So we had the pleasure of going down to Jarvis through the OPP to receive this award. So it's nice. I thank them a lot for it. Is that why we do the job? We probably wouldn't say anything to anybody. The OPP actually nominated us for that. So I don't know if anybody has any other questions.
Any questions? Go ahead, Shirley.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks very much, Chief Boutreau, and congratulations on all those recognitions. That's really, really special and well deserved. I was just curious if you could share a little bit more, for my benefit, probably the others are aware, in regards to the training. Is that all done in-house by yourself and Deputy Redmond? Do you have a training officer? Do you do any partnerships for training exercises with Meaford or any other departments?
Yeah, so we do have external training, like our firefighters, the ability to go to do external training through the fire marshal's office. And we do that as well, but we do everything in-house. We do a lot of stuff in-house. And we train like 4 times a month. Every Wednesday, basically, is our training nights. And we do work with some of the neighboring departments. We have worked with Meaford a few times. We try to get working with them at least once a year. They're great. We've brought them over here with their aerial truck, and then we go over there with our water supply stuff, because we do water bowl, and they like the way we do the system. So we'll go over and share information. They come here and they work with us. So we do cross train that way. We do take our new recruits or new hires over to Meaford to use the training building there for smoke training, search and rescue. So that's the conversation that Rob and we kind of had that conversation about doing more, and we have to bring that to fruition, and it's just the logistics of getting people when nights are going to work and stuff. But 2 different departments, 2 different training nights. We got to figure the logistics, so we're not draining halls and stuff. But yeah, we want to do more. We have done training within the city here in the past too, with their area as well, and relay pumping, and we have shared information back and forth where we go to their hall, they show their equipment, they come to our hall, and we do that as well. And we have worked with their aerial and done relay pumping in the past. But and yeah, those are the 2 departments basically we do work with. Yeah.
That's terrific.
But,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions?
Through the chair, I'd like to ask the chief a question. Earlier on in the year, we're going now into my 18th month or thereabouts going in. We allocated a lot of funds towards NFPA training and standards going up, and I'm really glad and supportive of the numbers that you've shown here. Going ahead from this day forward, what are the future plans, or how's the training laid out to meet those NFPA standards that we allocated additional funds for?
Yeah. So what we're doing is we've started applications for learning contracts. So we're looking at bringing in an incident safety officer course to get people certified in incident safety is one of the ones. So fire officer 1 training, some fire officer 2 training to bring everybody up, like anybody that would like to get up to that speed. We can do that in-house. We can train, and then we'll train in-house. So learning contract, basically, they'll give us the information we need to train. We tell them the dates we're training, and this date we're going to do the written test and the practical test, so we can train to their standard. They give us all the information we need to be successful. In-house, we have our training officers that will train, and at the end of that whole process, we'll challenge the written test and get the certifications we need. So whatever we want to be certified in, we can get through learning contracts. And you might send 1 or 2 to do the course through the RTC training center as well, but it's hard to get 20 to 30 people to do that. So we'll do that in-house, but we send people away, they can get the training and bring it back and teach it. We can work towards that certification at the end of it. So we're looking at incident safety officer is the one we're going to bring out now, because that's very important. And we thought it would be a good start, because to get the people, the buy-in from the firefighters and their understanding that it's not really it's not, certifications, you read into testing people, they stress, they get, they get worked up about it, but if you want to make them successful, that's why we're gonna do it. And by doing it in-house, incident safety officers definitely our first step forward. And we got firefighters that are already like legacy and grandfather to the certifications. We just want to make them, like, we want to get that NFPA standard. They're Ontario certified, but we want to get them the NFPA. Does that answer it well?
It does to a point, and I appreciate the answer and going through. I just, my feeling is at the beginning when we approached in through here and we got talking about NFPA and that was funds going across, is hitting the broad base across where we want to be. ISO is a great course and the limitations, and you've already expressed the diligence and the work ethic of the department, and that's not being questioned. The part is that when it comes to the financial part or the future of the department with like 5 new hires coming in, is where are the funds and the training going to be within the next 6 months to a year out? And I do understand where the fire marshal is going to give you the course to run in-house, and you can run as many people as you want. There are stresses that are involved. I just want to know, like, pump ops, and we sent 1 person for for high angle. We're going to be putting out fairly significant funds towards high angle rescue. And if we've only sent 1 person for an FPA and we've got this equipment sitting there, are we going to be looking at like addressing the 1006 on high angle so it goes with this equipment? Or are we going to have a piece of equipment that we're going to put individuals in our department that are not meeting the standards? So I just want to see where we're going to go in the future when it came to the funds.
So with regards to the high angle you're talking about, 1006, the program that my firefighter was to is the very first program. It's a pilot project. There is no NFPA certification prior to this for high angle rescue. There's courses that are taught out there, they're taught to the standard, but you don't get an NFPA certificate at the end. This course that my gentleman took, it'll give him a certificate at the end. We're looking at learning contracts for that as well. They're just trying to get the pilot done before they really release all that information. So the pilot's done, the pilot's being worked on, so we're looking, hopefully our goal is to train in-house, bring AS&E in, which is the governing body for the certification, and then get certified that way. And then our thing is maintenance, just like everything else we're doing now. Firefighter 1 and 2 now, we're maintaining it through JPRs. So, and everything is maintenance for the certification part, for the specialized rescue, it's just coming to light now. We got till 2028, and it's not mistaken to get that certification to the high angle rescue. So we're hoping to do like a group of 10 to 15 initially, then just keep bringing everybody up to that level.
Sure. And I don't want this to sound like a match. I'm very supportive in our department and the training that has to do. My question or the focus of it is coming down, the monies that are in place, and that where we're going is per firefighter. Where are you looking at budgeting and setting in the steps to achieve what you're talking about? 1006 with JPRs can be found in standards, and you train to those. We can already start knocking those things off. It's just, I just want to see where the value of the money is coming from with the training. When we said at the beginning, we need to hit the NFPA standards. And I commend what happened with everybody who did the rescue out there, I think, and I know from past how important it is. Well, my question is to you, what is the future on the training plan and where they're implemented to cover the funds that have been allocated towards NFPA training?
Go ahead, Sam.
Sorry. I'm in recognizing I don't know how to answer your question, but I'm wondering if it is something when we could do it for next quarter potentially, or if it's something with your budget, it's mapping out. Maybe it's by month, maybe it's by quarter, what the planned training activities are. Is that?
I
Will
think
you
that'd
be
be
willing
part
the
of-
associated costs with them?
I think for myself and through the board, we haven't sat down to really talk about where it's going, and left in this part, there's been a lot. And it could be broke down into the year. I believe that the projection should be in the budget and going forth. And I mean, I could probably look up and see how much money we've allocated towards training. And I see training hours going in. So there's a cost associated with every training session that's going on. It's just the end result of our training. Are we meeting an FPA? Are we sending people down that road where we said we need to get the standards and certifications? Now, if we can break that down to the next meeting or even in between and lay it out, I'd be really happy with that. And we could share that information. And then also that we're all on the same playing fields, things like acronyms like JPRs and AS&E, that we all on the board have a sheet so we know what that means. I think we need that as a board. And that'd be good.
Can we leave that with Samantha and the chief to bring that back at our next meeting then? Okay. Any other questions? The only comment I'd like to make, I was privileged to go to the OPP West Region with the awards. And it was really great to see our firefighters recognized. And I think we need to acknowledge that it was the whole department that was there working on that, and Jeff's leadership and everything. So I think from the board, we should express our thanks for everything that was done that day by everyone that was involved. Thank you. If there's, Steve, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Carl. Question on the financials, just the time I can ask that question. WSIB kickback, I've been in business my whole life, I've never had one. I heard that correct.
You did.
I would like to motion that it goes into a reserve for either WSIB or insurance of some sort versus creating and operating.
So we've already passed to receive that report. So we're backtracking now.
Well, she said we didn't have to make that decision now, so I'm bringing it
Right,
forward now.
I believe you already have a motion on the floor in regards to Jeff's report.
Yeah.
For the Q2 ITFD.
Yeah, let's deal with Jeff's and then board inquiries and comments. Bring that up
That's
there.
what I was asking, is this the right time to bring that up?
Yeah.
I didn't want you to put the gavel down and the meeting was done. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So we'll, if there's no other questions about Jeff's report, then I will call the vote. All in favor? That is carried. We have no unfinished business, no new business, board inquiries and comments. There you go. This is yours.
Yes, I would propose or bring a motion forward to the 11,000 or 13,000, 13,000. Go back into either a WSIB reserve and or insurance reserve versus leave it in operations. That's my motion.
I will second it.
Seconded by Cheryl. Any other questions? I will call the vote on that item then. All in favor? That is carried.
Thank you.
We have no closed session and the date of the, sir, go ahead, Shirley.
I apologize, Madam Chair. Just before we go forward in the agenda, I think probably everyone on the board is aware, but I just wanted to make a formal announcement that we do have a new fire chief in Meaford, and that was approved at our last council meeting, and we are absolutely thrilled that Rob Elon has accepted that position. He has over 27 years of experience with our Meaford department. He's come up through the ranks. He's been a training and prevention officer. He's also been deputy chief, and now he is our fire chief, and we're incredibly proud of Rob. And I just wanted to bring that to this board today.
Thank you. I did read about that, so congratulations on the hire. Okay. If there's nothing else, then the board will meet as regularly scheduled on October 14th, 2025 at 2 p.m. Recommendation is that the meeting be adjourned at 3:28 p.m. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Ron and Grant, and all in favor? That is carried. Thank you, everyone.
No, thank you.